All right, what up, Who That Nation? This is No Cap, No Filter Saints back at y'all again with another episode with my dog BryanTNR. We gonna talk about the draft, man. Like, I'm gonna just go ahead on and get right into it, B. Let's go ahead on and address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the controversy of the Saints draft out the gate with
Mm-hmm.
Spence Rattler, bro. Like a lot of people, including myself, are very excited with the pick. They're looking at him like he could be our franchise savior. We got him in the 5th round, so that's very good value. A lot of people are thinking this could be our Russell Wilson, this could be our Brock Purdy, our Jalen Hurts, whatever the case may be. A lot of people got a lot of promise for this dude, and there's some people who just not sold on him yet because it's past or whatnot. But me personally, I had only one thing going for this same season exciting, and that was Clint Kubiak. Now I got two things because I can look towards the future with Spence Rattler. How you feel about the pick, man?
I like it, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. Now I'm not one of them people, thinking he look like the savior of the franchise because he still got to go out there and prove it. But what it does signal to me is that even the Saints realize Derek Carr's not the long-term answer, and that's probably the best outcome we could have got in this. They tried to draft up, a trader for Michael Penix. There's some conflicting reports. Some people say they did, some people say they didn't. I'm gonna believe it because they took Spencer Rattler. So for me, to wholeheartedly believe that they did try to trade up to get Michael Penix. It didn't work out, so be it. You got Spencer Rattler, one of the most talented people in the draft. But again, he got to go out there and prove it. And Clint Kubiak's system or the Shanahan system, I definitely think he can show improve. But again, that's still yet to be seen on the field. All I care about is the Saints told me loud and clear, and everybody else that had a problem with Derek Carr, we see the same things y'all see, and we trying to fix it. So that lets me know that second contract, Carr ain't getting it.
Hmm. Who pick you think that was? You think that was a Clint Kubiak pick, Jeff Ireland pick, maybe a Dennis Allen pick? Who do you think picked
I
that
think it
pick?
was a combination of Clint Kubiak and I think Jeff Ireland as well, man. Jeff Ireland is a smart dude. Controversy be damned, the man knows what he's doing, and I think this was his lad draft. I think they gave Clint Kubiak this because he's like, look, I know y'all got Carr and all of that, man, but I'm gonna need somebody who's gonna be able to run my system properly. And you don't have to be the greatest quarterback to run that system. We done seen people like from the old days of Jake Plummer to Jake Cutler. A lot of these guys running that Shanahan system, the bootleg system, because it works out well. Matt Ryan ran into perfection once he got a chance to do it. So I think you don't need to be the most talented guy, as we see with Brock Purdy. I just think you need to be able to move a little bit, be able to, dot the I's and cross the T's down the field and have a good intermediate game. The downfield stuff gonna open itself up eventually. But if you can hit those shorts and intermediate routes on a move, that's all you need for that Clint Kubiak system, man. And I definitely think Spencer Rattler can do that if he can't do nothing else. He can move around a little bit.
He fell all the way to the 5th round. A lot of people are saying it's about him, having that the the reality show he had when he was coming out of high school. I think he was like 17 years old. Like, how do you feel about GMs and these guys? They want to invest a lot of money to these players, but they're also looking at their character so heavily, even back to where they was teenagers.
I think it's a load of BS, to be honest with you, bro, because I think character concerns can be anything you make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like if like Kyler Murray, for example, they labeled Kyler Murray a problem because he played like Fortnite or something too much, or Call of Duty too much. Like, if
Yeah.
that's a red flag and he going out there and balling like that, then hell, sign me up for a couple of them, because I'm like, we don't know what these players do a lot in their off time. So I don't care about stuff like that. Now, red flag would be if he got child porn on his computer. That's a red flag. You know what I'm saying? If there's something of that nature in his background. If a dude plays too many video games, he had a reality show, he's a little bit mean to some of his teammates as a teenager, I don't give a damn about that, man. That's a dude being a dude.
All right. Yeah, man, I feel the same way. I feel like you could judge people off their past, but at the same time, if it's just so long ago, and you got to just think about the context. If if a lot of us was nationwide athletes at 17 with a reality show, we might say some stuff
Hmm.
that we probably regret later down the line as well. A lot of these
Facts.
guys that's in these GM positions, they act like they wasn't 117. But besides the fact that he said those things, when he was at South Carolina, I'm hearing that he didn't have an offensive line, he didn't have a running game. basically all the plays that he was making himself, and he was making with the wide receiver that the Carolina Panthers took. So,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't really have much that he was working with, and he was still, making, a lot of good arm talent plays. Like you could see the talent, it pop off the tape. So I'm feeling like if he could sit for a year or two, that's the perfect position right there. No pressure, just get thrown in the fire. And for a 5th-round pick, we getting very good risk reward value.
No, I completely agree, bro. Like I said, the talent is there. He just got to put the work in. And the question is really going to become how threatened is Derek Carr by Spencer Rattler being there? Because let's call it what it is. One of those quarterbacks they signed in the offseason not going to be there. Either Nate Peterman not going to be there, Kellen Mond not going to be there. That leaves you with a competition between Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner for the number 2 spot. I think right now that position might be for Spencer Rattler, man. I don't know if Jake Hayner is good enough to keep Spencer Rattler from the number 2 QB spot. I don't think he is. I would have to see it to believe it. Now he's had a year in the NFL, but did he really have a year when you missed 6 games and had to miss because of PEDs? You got a whole new system that's coming in. It's not the same one you're used to. So, I mean, for me, I like Spencer Rattler's chances, man. I think he has a chance to be QB2 and really push Derek Carr, man, as far as, being that threat that Derek Carr didn't want Jameis to be, because it's not going to happen year 1 unless, injury, of course. Not going to happen year 2. But Derek Carr got about 2 more years in New Orleans before Spencer Rattler, getting him out of here, or if not Spencer, a quarterback that the Saints may draft in the future, because now they're signaling Derek Carr's not the answer.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think would happen, like, if we were to not just do good, but we kind of like in play for another top quarterback, like a top 5 quarterback in the 1st round? You think we'll go after quarterback again, or you think maybe it just really depends on how Spencer Rattler have a preseason and how he just looking in practice throughout the year?
I think you keep taking as many bites of the apple until you hit the core, man. Because I'm like, if next year, let's say Shador, if Shador comes out and Shador's in that top 10 realm, and you feel like he's the quarterback of the future, to hell with Spencer Rattler, you draft him. Now, a lot of people getting on Atlanta, and rightfully so, because they just gave Kirk Cousins a bunch of money, and you basically saying, for a guy of Michael Penix's age, you don't mind waiting 5 years. That's kind of stupid for you to say, but I mean, it makes sense, because if Kirk Cousins only plays 2 years, well, now he's up out of there. Or what if he can't play next year because of that Achilles? You still have a quarterback on the roster. That's the same thing the Saints should do. They messed up by not going after a successor for Drew Brees. You can't make the same mistake over and over. You already know Derek Carr ain't it. Now, Derek Carr could go out there and have an all-pro season. He still ain't the answer at quarterback long term. So if that's the case and Spencer Rattler looks good and you can make him QB2, so be it. But if Shador Sanders is there and you think he's the guy, you take him.
So who do you think like is better set up for the now and the future out of like Atlanta with Cousins and Penix, and New Orleans with Carr and Rattler?
I still think Atlanta is, because they have younger pieces. Now they still have some work that needs to be done, because I want to say, like, over the last couple of games or whatever like that, their defense started showing their true colors. So for me, I think they still got to show up their defense. But as far as young pieces, that's what Atlanta has the advantage on. They're younger than the Saints. That's why Kirk Cousins was supposed to come in and be the adult in the room and be like, okay, look, all you need is a veteran quarterback, and I can get these young guys to play well. The Saints are old, and they got to get younger real quick, and they got a lot of holes. Like, to me, I still feel like the Saints offensive line is in shambles. You may be starting Penix at left tackle, but you don't know what you have there. You still don't know what you have at left guard. So basically, you now have your center, your right guard, and your right tackle, and that's a rookie playing right tackle for you. So, I mean, it's still up in the air. Defensively, you still haven't shored up your defensive line. You got to get your pass rush together. Chase Young, if he's healthy, okay, cool. Cam is old. You really haven't found an answer at D tackle yet to help you stop the run. And Granderson is the only person on the other side that can even get you 8 sacks. So it's still a lot to be desired. The one thing the Saints have is a secondary. That's hands down.
Yeah. All right. So when it comes to Spencer Rattler, let's just say he sits on the bench for a year, maybe 2 years tops. Like, I just feel like as long as we could just have this blueprint of just filling out the roster and just having everything set for when he comes and be that starting guy, I think we should be fine. Like, we just need to get better through free agency and get better through the draft when it comes to shoring up the offensive line, shoring up the defensive line. I still feel like we need a dog at wide receiver or tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You seen the jump in Jalen Hurts play when he got AJ Brown, Alpha Dog. Like, I love Chris Olave, but at the same time, it's like he has those concussion issues. I don't know. Maybe he gonna have to be one of those guys who, or one of those helmets that they saying, we could wear throughout this new season, and maybe that could just slow down him from getting these concussions. And it's just like in certain moments, it's like, can you really count on him like we could count on a Marcus Coast and a Michael Thomas? Because it's dogs, but it's two different type of dogs. It's two different type of mentalities. Some of them, they just wear their hard hat and go about their business, like a Cooper Kupp or Marcus Coast, and some of them, they just real brash. I don't really get that vibe from Chris Olave per se, but if we could bring in another dog at wide receiver or tight end, I think that'll help Spence Rattler tremendously, especially if we show up the offensive line and just get another running back for him, because I think Jamal Williams and AK will probably be out the door by the time he comes in the thick of things.
Yeah, this is the most beautiful thing about Spencer Rattler if he pans out. You got him for 4 years and he's a 5th round pick, meaning you ain't really got to pay him nothing. So if 2 years from now Derek Carr gone and Spencer Rattler going to slide up into QB1 spot, that means you can build around him because you ain't paying him nothing. Right. So by the time you're up for 2 more years or a year and a half, you're up for an extension. Now you can talk, and because he hasn't really balled out just yet, you don't really have to pay him one of those 50, 60, $70 million per year contracts either. So it allows you to have more money to reset the cap, get those free agents and draft picks you were talking about in to help him and have pieces around him. I mean, and that's all if he pans out. If he pans out, it's a beautiful thing because it really helps the cap out. As far as the talent around him, you're right. AK gonna be gone. I think Olave is a 2. That's just me. I think he can be a 1, but I think he's a 2. That means Shaheed is a 3 and AT is a 4. I think they need, like you said, I think they need like a certified dog at wide receiver. I think they need somebody that when you game plan and you the other team, that's the first name you bring up. How do we stop that dude? I think AK gonna be gone. Kendre's supposed to take his spot. We'll see how that works out, man. I thought the Saints should have brought in another running back. I still think they can do that via free agency. But once the veterans start kind of getting cut and stuff like that, they'll be able to look around and see what's there. But I mean, for me, bro, I'm sold on the idea of if the Saints gonna slow cook this thing, just do that. Because I told you last time I was on the show, I don't think Dennis Allen getting fired next year. I think he got to bottom out. It's got to be 3-14 before he gone. If he wins 7 games, he back next year.
Yeah, man. I've been having my little agendas, and all my agendas been lining up like I've been wanting. I just got to get this final piece to just make my agendas all come to fruition, and that's getting Dennis Allen up out of here and getting this new head coach. And it's looking like we got the quarterback thing set for right now for at least some type of hope. Like, to me as a fan, you got to have some type of hope. And to me, Spence Rattler, he representing hope for us because it's just – and I don't want to put too much pressure on him or this draft as a whole, because I've been seeing people on Saints Twitter, they talking about this draft is the best Saints draft since 2017 or it's going to be better than 2017. I'm like, no, we need to pump our brakes now. We need to pump our brakes. Even with these,
ain't nobody know 2017 was 2017 until afterwards.
Yeah, like that was a historical NFL history draft. Like, not just in Saints, but in the whole NFL. Like, I think for that to happen, Spence Rattler have to pan out, Kool-Aid to have to pan out, this right tackle, Bub Means, like, all that I have to literally pan out to say that's better than the 2017 draft. But, if the motor barrier, but let's go ahead on, and before I get to the other draft picks, let me just make sure I'm clear. Like, so you were a fan of the Phoenix pick by Falcons?
Not necessarily a fan, but I understood it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna clown them like everybody else did. I think it's stupid that you gave Kirk Cousins $180 million, then you turn around and draft Penix. That was dumb. Because if you was gonna draft Penix, you could have just did that and saved the money, and you could have used that money to build around Penix. If you was going, you go with Kirk Cousins and that was gonna be your guy, then you know what I'm saying, you could have took that same draft pick at number 8 and got him some help. So that I can understand why people are laughing at him. I also understand the value of the pick because I'm like, if Kirk Cousins don't pan out this year, you need a quarterback, and they already said Desmond Ridder wasn't it.
But even if they didn't take Penix and they got him some other help, are the Falcons a legit contender?
Hell no. The Falcons could have had, a primetime Brady at quarterback and they still wouldn't have been a damn contender. They're not good enough. That they might be better than the Saints as far as their young talent. But don't get it twisted. I ain't saying they're a better team. I'm just saying that their young core pieces are better than what the Saints have right now based on what they have available. And make no mistake about it, the Falcons still the Falcons, and they just proved that.
Yeah. Well, I was a fan of the pick. I'm not gonna lie. I think you setting yourself up for the now and the future, just in case Kirk Cousins get hurt and y'all on the playoff run. Like Penis could come slide in, or if Kirk Cousins, if he's not doing all that well and he gets benched, Penis could slide in. Or if he just have 2 years and it just been like injury riddled and just not panning out how they want, you got that quarterback of the future right then and there. Like yeah, he's a little bit more older, but at the same time, I heard somebody else say, man, franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees. So if you got a chance to get one, you need to go ahead on and get one. But the fans of the Atlanta community, they think otherwise. But let me go ahead on and get to the rest of this draft, man. Our first pick, Fuaga, man. What's your thoughts on the pick, man?
I like the pick. I know many people wanted to go left tackle, but Ryan Ramczyk and Hurst kind of retiring abruptly like that put them in a bad spot. Ramczyk, we've been saying for the longest time, that man needs gone. So I don't know what took them so long to come to that realization, but I mean, it was what it was. When the man started missing almost all week of practice and then had to only play on game days, that told you everything you needed to know. So for me, the writing been on the wall. I've been saying for almost a year now that he need to go ahead on and retire and save his body. But, that's neither here nor there. But now they made the pick to, solidify the right tackle spot, because in your back pocket, you can still re-sign an Andres Pete. You can go get a Bakhtiari or somebody like that to come in and fill that spot, temporarily. Or if your prayers are answered and, you done said a couple of Hail Marys, or, if you didn't pray to Allah, whatever happens for you, and you better pray that Penning, pans out and he is that left tackle with some better coaching. I don't believe in it. I'll believe it when I see it. But as of right now, that looks like the plan. But that left side of the line gonna need a lot of work, unless it's Andres Pete. And let's not fool ourselves. Andres Pete ain't the best left tackle in the NFL either.
If we get Andres Pete, who's the left guard?
I think that's when you have a battle between Penix to see if he can get on the field, or you let Saldivari fill that spot. It's one of the two. You drafted him in the 4th round for a reason last year. You go ahead on and you let him fill that spot if Pete is going to be your left tackle. If not, then you better find a way to get Penix on the field, because if not, that's a 3rd year he ain't playing. He becomes a bust.
So for sure, don't let Fuaga play left tackle.
I don't think so. I think the man been playing right tackle his whole life. Don't reinvent the wheel. Let him stay on the right side. That's what he comfortable at. That's what he made his name at. Can he play on the left side? Hell, he might. But what you do know is he can play on the right side. There ain't no might to that. He can do that part. Keep him where he at. Let him do his thing on the right side and find your left tackle.
Right after the pick was made, Kendre Miller, he was all smiles. I think he had posted something on his story of that nature. Clint Kubiak, he's talking about he's really going to come in and enforce the run. That'll, ultimately help Derek Carr. Like, what do you see the game plan as far as this run game with these tackles that we might have in Penning, where he's supposed to be a good run blocking right tackle? It's just Doug Maroney get the most out of him. And we got like one of the best, arguably, right tackles in this whole draft when it comes to run blocking ability.
I think the scheme and the head coach fit very well. When you got a defensive head coach, they like to have their identity be the same thing. It don't matter what defensive coach it is, they all got the same identity. We're going to run the ball. We're going to keep the game low score. We're going to play good defense. If we got to win a 9-0 game, I'm fine with winning a 9-0 game. That's Dennis Allen. Ground and pound, play good defense. Let's kick a couple of field goals if we got to do that. But when we have our red zone opportunities, let's take it. That's every defensive coach. That's Buffalo, with McDermott. That was Bill Belichick for the longest time, man. Like, they're not no air it out type of team. This ain't gonna be a Sean McVay or Sean Payton type of offense. But what it will do is, especially in the NFC South, it'll keep you in position to win a lot of close games. And I'm not mad at that, because all that matters. It don't matter if you win 9-0 or if you win 90-0. All that matters is a W.
I always say, man, when you drafting a guy in the 1st round, yeah, you might not have got him as a left tackle. He might be a right tackle. Yeah, you might got him as a center. Yeah, you might got a guard. But at the end of the day, as long as he could be a multiple Pro Bowl center, a multiple Pro Bowl guard, or right tackle, or all pro right tackle, that was a knockout the park draft to me. So that's how I look at that. And I think Fuaga, I think he's going to pan out. I think everything that's advertised, I think you whatever you see, you pretty much going to get out him. So I like the pick. I really think that we needed to shore up the offensive line, and not just for the now, but for the future. And it was a need, and it was value met, and it was just like perfect. Like all these Saints picks, the need and the value met perfectly, like with all of them. And it was kind of like foreshadowing like what's to come. All these picks, and especially the first three. Let me go ahead to the next pick. We got Kool-Aid. This guy right here, I really feel like he really answers the bell at a lot of things that we could use. He could return kicks. That could save Rashid Shaheed from being on the punt return unit, and save him from not getting hurt. He could play the slot. Now we could put Alontae Taylor on the outside, which I think he was kind of alluding to playing on the outside because he had just posted something on Twitter alluding to that. But if not, Alontae Taylor could go to safety. Like I said, he could, but he was like, nah. But I don't know. It's a lot of different things. And on top of that, you have that insurance just in case they do trade away Marshawn Lattimore. How you feel about the Kool-Aid pick who a lot of people deem as the best cornerback in this draft?
For the first, to be honest, I like the Saints draft a lot. It's got to pan out. You got to see it on the field, but I like the Saints draft. I definitely like the idea of picking Kool-Aid because it's what you said. It's foreshadowing. We now know one or two things happening. Either they're going to bring Marshawn back and they're going to let Paulson play out his last year on a rookie contract and let him walk next year, or you're gonna let Paulson stay. You're gonna let Marshawn. You're gonna trade him at June 1st when the cap benefits you best. So it's telegraphing everything that they want to do, and I'm not mad at it.
Shouts out to my guys Adam and Ryan over there at Saints Block Party Podcast. Adam, he be having his little sources or whatever, and he actually said that in the building they're not really too high on Alontae Taylor no more for whatever reason. I don't know if he wasn't panning out at slot and he was having some bickering with the coaches or whatever the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see what the same thing that was done to C. Deuce is done to him. So how do you feel about if he's going to be the odd man out?
I think he talked too damn much. I think Alontae did a damn thing in the NFL to back up all the way he talked, and I think that's going to be his problem. He talked too damn much. Shut the hell up and prove it on the field. Until then, it is what it is, and I don't doubt Ryan or Adam because I know they're connected. Some of the people they've talked to, I know I've had conversation with, and I know one in particular. So with that being said, it's like, no, you hear the rumblers. That's why I changed what I used to say, and I say, man, I'm just a dude that hear things from time to time. Because a lot of the times, the rumbling is so loud, many people are talking about it. They don't like Alontae's attitude. And it's no secret that they don't like it. I definitely would co-sign on what Adam and Ryan are putting out. I'm not going to doubt it at all. I think those brothers do a hell of a job of getting their info and having it lined up before they speak. So no question about it.
Do you think
and if Alontae ain't careful, he gone soon.
Do you think it's money because that outside cornerback money is different than that slot or safety money? You think it's that because he just want to play that and he just letting his voice be heard?
I don't think it's money just yet, but I really think it's ego. I think he wants to be one of the best outside corners in the game. I think that's where he feels most comfortable, and he didn't want to move to the slot. When he moved into the slot, he wanted to play on the outside. He lost the competition to Paulson. We can understand why, because contract. Yeah, not Paulson went out there and played ball, man. So, it's easy to see why they went with Paulson. The whole point of that is Alontae wants that. He wants that shine. He wants to be on the outside. That's what that's the popular spot. That's where he's comfortable at, and I understand it. The issue is that they don't need you to play on the outside. You got an all-pro Marshawn. You drafted Paulson Adebo in the third round, and he balling. That's now your number one cornerback, depending on what happens with Marshawn. And you would think that the Saints team looked at it and said, okay, well, we can always move Paulson. Move Alontae to the outside if we get rid of Marshawn. That ain't. They had a different plan. They plan on playing Kool-Aid on the outside and not in the slot. So either one or two things gonna happen. Alontae gonna have to get comfortable playing a slot, or Alontae gonna have to get comfortable playing for somebody else.
If you had to choose who to move on from, would it be Adebo or Sean?
Marshawn. Okay. For as much as I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, I think the Saints have proven they can win without him. And I think that was the worst thing that happened for Marshawn. You can't go 10 games in a defense not drop off when they're playing a dude named Isaac Adam. It's not like they went and put Alontae out there and Alontae locked it down. That would make sense. You drafted him in the second round. You're putting him out there. You have faith that he can go out there and ball. That would make sense. Isaac Adam was basically a street free agent. He shouldn't be able to go out there and lock it down like Marshawn did, and you don't drop off. That's the same thing that happened to CD Deuce. CD Deuce, 4th round pick. You know, you say you got rid of CD for basically a pack of Skittles. You put Alontae in the spot. They really didn't have no drop off once he got comfortable playing in the slot. So for me, I think that's the worst thing that could have happened to Sean, and that's why you can move on from him. They showed and proved they can play without him out there.
Okay. So the rest of the draft picks, like, who's your favorite out of all the rest of the guys that we selected? Who do you think has the most, best chance to make this roster?
Man, that's a great question, bro. Honestly, man, I like the defensive tackle, Christian Boyd. Mm-hmm. I think that I kind of had a feeling he was going to be a pick when the Saints started talking with him, in the process. They said they saw him on tape when they were looking at Penning back in the day, man. And you need a dude next to Brzee. So I think he has the best chance to start, the best chance to get out there and make it. Well, not the best chance to start because I know they're going to start Fuaga, but I mean, in that case, man, as far as the rest of the draft picks, I think the door is wide open for him because they have a huge need at defensive tackle. He's what, 6'2", 6'3", 320, something like that to plug in the middle next to Brzee. That's a lot of beef right there in the middle, man. So you can get him on one side to kind of stop the run, get Brzee to go up the field and be that threatening, D tackle to kind of get to the quarterback. That's not a bad combination.
What about Shepard and Saunders?
I think it's a rotation, but I think Boyd has the ability to go out there and start next to Brzee, and then you put the rotation of Shepard and Saunders out there, and you just kind of rotate those guys in. Maybe you put a oh my gosh, what's dude name from Kansas City? I'm drawing a blank right now. Pasio. You put Tano out there, man. You rotate Cam in the inside when you want to go chase on the outside with Granderson. I mean, there's a lot of variety you can use now that now that you have Christian Boyd if he can start. If not, then you're still looking for a D tackle.
Is Malcolm Roach a free agent?
Oh man, I don't know. I think he signed with. Did he sign with Jacksonville? I think Malcolm might have signed with somebody, bro. Forgive me for not having that info, man. But I know Malcolm is gone.
Okay. Well,
I can't remember who he signed with.
We're gonna have to see. All right, so let me go ahead. I had seen these little questions on Saints Twitter. I'm gonna just go ahead on and ask you. You could kind of rapid fire them off. So out of our Saints draft, who's your favorite pick?
Favorite pick, Bub Means.
Okay, tell me why.
I think if he can duplicate it, he's damn near clone of Deebo Samuels. So if they can find a way to use him in a similar fashion, now the whole route running thing, man, I don't give a damn if he can run routes, like Jerry Rice. I don't care about that. Can he separate and get open? Yes, that's all you need to know. That I think that he can't run every route on the route tree. I don't give a damn if Randy Moss wasn't no elite route runner. Let's not confuse ourselves. Now, am I comparing Bub Means to Randy Moss? Hell no. But the reality of it is that you don't have to be an elite route runner. You just have to be able to separate and get open. And with his physicality, I'd like it. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah, a lot of people was wanting Jerry Rice's son over Bub Means because a lot of people felt like Bub Means he's kind of similar to A.T. Perry. So a lot of people was just kind of confused with that pick. But we're gonna have to see it pan out. Who's your sleeper?
Oh man, that's a great question, man. I don't really think he can be a sleeper. I'm gonna say Spencer, because if he takes over, if he can knock out Jake Haener for the number 2 spot, then I mean he's already on his way to becoming QB1. So I don't know if he can be a sleeper, but I think Spencer is my sleeper, man. I think that was a hell of a pick by the Saints if he can pan out because the talent is there.
Well, I guess sleeper is the same thing as still. Who's the most underrated pick? I see a lot of people are talking about that tight end from the Colorado.
That's an undrafted free agent, so I ain't really gonna count that one. But as far as their draft picks is concerned, I'm gonna go Christian Boyd again, because I think talent wise, if the light is on and it can flash, that could be dangerous for him and Brzee in the middle.
Yeah, and the last one is likely to surprise me. So
likely to surprise. I would tell you a hell of a surprise. If that offensive tackle they drafted late in the draft can actually come in and contribute, that's a surprise because, I mean, he was almost an afterthought. Nobody's talking about the fact that they drafted another tackle because he plays right tackle as well. But if he can come in and pan out and be like that jumbo package, or maybe even, have a little versatility, can be able to play on the left side and help out, that might be a hell of a pick.
And they do got undrafted free agent I'm rooting for, so that probably be that tight end we was talking about. I think his name is Darren Hoke.
Yeah, that's the dude from Colorado State. That boy gave Colorado that work in that game too.
Yeah,
he was giving Dion fits out there.
Yeah, don't think about that. Like I make an exception for Spencer Rattler because he's a franchise changer. Like I think everybody should be rooting for him to do good, but a lot of these other guys, when it comes to the draft, I'm from the show me state now. Like I'm not about to let nobody Callaway me, Marquez Callaway, or Lucas call me no more. I can't do it. They got to go out there and show me.
Yeah, I mean, I know people get hyped behind the undrafted free agents, man. I ain't buying it. That's my thing on all of them, though. I got to see all of them do it. I ain't trying to hear nothing from nobody because I'm what's that? I'm familiar with your game. I done seen this one too many times before, man. They got to go out and prove it.
And everybody on Saints Twitter say the same thing. Oh yeah, I watched this tape. Translation. I watched this.
I watched the highlights. Yeah, I watched the highlights. I hate that. I watched this tape. No, you didn't.
You ain't watching his low life. You ain't watching what he's doing wrong when he's not getting the ball off. Even when he do get the ball, he still probably did something wrong. Like you're not watching that. But it's called highlights for a reason. But yeah, man. Overall, I do like the draft, bro. I'm very excited. Like I said, man. I said before the draft, I said the whole division has a lot to be excited for. Then after the draft, like before we did our full draft, I said Atlanta has very much a lot to be excited for. They got Kirk Cousins, they got Michael Penix for the future. A lot of people feel like Michael Penix is the best quarterback in the draft, probably after Caleb as far as talent wise. But all the other boxes he checks off as you want for what you want in a quarterback. But you got Carolina, they had a good draft and they had a good free agency. I think they got a good pick with the wide receiver they got from Carolina. He was really helping Rattler because a lot of them throws was kind of off, but he was just so much of a freakish athlete that he was just coming down with the ball. But I think they had so much of a terrible team. It's only one way to go but up. And if that coach panned out and if David Tepper could just stay out the way, then I think they can have a decent year to be excited for if you that fan base. And on top of that, they always play us hard. And the Buccaneers, they basically ran it back. They brought back everybody that was doing good. So it's like if they could have that same chemistry that they had last year, and then Baker Mayfield could just prove last season with the fluke with that coach that had left, and he could just expand on that season. It's a lot to be excited for the other divisions. But to me, the Saints just only had Clint Kubiak to be excited for me personally. But now after this draft, they just going towards the future. I'm really getting excited, especially for the Spencer Rattler pick, assuming that he can pan out.
Yeah, I mean, I like what the Saints did in the draft. I don't mind what they did in free agency. I just want to see it play out on the field because I'm not about to let them suck me in and stuff like that, man. For me to see what's going on and believe that they just gonna all of a sudden be the team, the team to beat in the NFC South. I'm not falling for that crap no more, man. I need to see it happen on the field. And so for me, I'm gonna take a wait and see approach about everything. I ain't about to give the Saints none of my money. I ain't showing up to training camp out there in California. I ain't going to no damn preseason games, and I ain't going to none of the games till they start winning. Call me a bandwagon fan. Call me fair weather. I don't give a goddamn how you feel. I'm going to still be doing the same thing and saying the same thing. I ain't doing it till I see it.
Yeah, man. I think I'll always say, man, I'm looking towards 2025. Like a lot of these draft picks, I could see them panning out in the future. Like we didn't even mention the Jalen Ford guy for the linebacker out of Texas. Like maybe he could be our linebacker of the future and be Demario Davis understudy. But to me, history has shown we need to get our linebacker of the future from the Jets. But
right,
yeah, but like I say, man, I really feel like a lot of these guys they could pan out for the future of the team. And I'm looking towards 2025 because at the end of the day, for 2024, with that schedule, our division getting better, and us probably not going to have that same luck on our side that we had versus opponents, man, as long as we got Dennis Allen as the head man and Derek Carr as the trigger man, I'm not too much sold on next year, Saints. I'm more excited for the year after.
Yeah, I think when it comes to 2025, they're going to look a lot different than 2024. I think Kamara gonna be gone, Marshawn will be gone, Cam will be on his way out, DeMario might possibly be gone, man. So I think the 2025 Saints could look very different than what we see in the 2024. So for them, if they want to get it done, this should last go around here. Like I said, I don't believe Dennis Allen gonna be fired because I'm giving the Saints at least 6 to 7 wins. So I don't think he's going anywhere. That being said, I mean it ain't like it can't happen. If the bottom drop out, then good for him. Good for the Saints as far as the future is concerned.
Right.
But for me,
Uh,
I like I said, I'm gonna see it play it out on the field, and then I'll believe it.
as far as the draft and the free agency, we all knew this team had plenty holes. What's some holes that we still need to fulfill?
Left tackle, left guard. Shit, I still don't know what they got right now. I think tight end is still a position. I still don't feel like they got like a number one wide receiver, but I think they're gonna roll into the season with what they got. I think Olave gonna be the one, Rashid gonna be the two, AT gonna be the three, Cedric Wilson gonna be your four, and then they'll let the rest figure it out from there. But I still think that they got some issues. I think offensive line is still an issue. I still think they need a running back. Because Kamara, I don't know what Kamara's situation gonna be, so I'd rather them have a backup in case somebody go down. Because Kendra has never proven he can stay healthy. Kamara been getting injured as he gets up in age, and Jamal Williams was an absolute wash last year. So I still wouldn't mind to see them bringing a veteran running back, but offensive line definitely. I want to see what happens at pass rush. Got a lot of people out here right now, man. Like Trey Hendrickson just came out and said he want to be gone. I'm looking at it as if the Saints traded Marshawn to Cincinnati. If Trey Hendrickson wants to be traded because he ain't gonna get a contract in Cincinnati, and Marshawn wants to be traded because he don't want to play for DA, it would make sense for both of those teams to have an even swap.
But if we swap them, like we could still control his contract.
Oh yeah. You still control Trey contract. The problem, the biggest issue if you trade for Trey, is that Trey gonna want a contract if he plays well, and he's gonna want one because he is gonna play well. And if Chase Young plays well, he's gonna want a new contract. So you got your bookends on both sides that's gonna need money, and you still got Granderson and Cam, eating up salary cap. So I understand why people wouldn't make it, but I think a team like Baltimore, Cincinnati, these are teams that should call the Saints because one, they don't mind giving up a first round draft pick or a second round draft pick because they know they're picking late in the draft. Baltimore's not going to be, Baltimore's a playoff team. That starts off at 24 right there. Cincinnati, potential playoff team. That's starting off at 24. So if they give up a first for Marshawn, you can do that. Give up a second for Marshawn, you can do that. It's not going to hurt them as much because they're picking late in the draft. So one of those teams, I could definitely see making a call for the Saints about Marshawn after June 1st.
Now, over here on No Cap No Filter Saints, I got an agenda to push here. Like I like the bash DA, but I can give credit when credit is due, and he's real good when it comes to the secondary. Like if I'm gonna give him credit for anything, our secondary always be good under him. But a lot of people are feeling like we still need to address safety.
I want to say I'm cautiously optimistic that the closer it gets to training camp, they'll sign somebody like a Justin Simmons, because I know they can't really go into the season thinking that Howden and Abram are the answer as free safety. Not to mention that, but for as much as I love Badger, man, Badger's still old out there. In terms of football, that's an old cat out there, man. So it would make sense for them to kind of have a backup plan. I think Justin Simmons will be an all-world free safety for Dennis Allen. So yes, I still think that's a spot that they got to address. But as of right now, they love Howden. The way the Saints coaches talked about Howden, it was the same way I used to hear them talk about Marcus Williams. They love him. But when you see his teammates talk about him, they're like, yeah, all right, but he got a long way to go. Nobody used to talk like that about Marcus Williams. So it's a difference between what the coaches are seeing and what the players are seeing.
Yeah, man. And as far as Trey Henderson, man, we already got Trey, we got Carl. Not Trey. We already got Chase, and we got Carl. But I'm thinking Chase gonna have like a similar year to Ellis when we had Ellis that went to the Falcons. I think he's probably gonna have like a 7 maybe 8 sack year. I'm not thinking he's just gonna get eight double digit sacks out the gate, but it all depends on how that injury uphold. But even with the injury, like I didn't talk to people who's from DC and they diehard Redskins fan. They say his motor. So
Yeah, and I can see that, but sometimes I think it depends on where you playing at. Now, are the Saints a world beater? Absolutely not. But I think that they're good enough to put, and DA is a hell of a defensive coach. I think he's good enough to get more out of Chase than what Ron Rivera got. Now, does that mean Chase gonna go out there and get double-digit sacks? I'm with you. I think he'll end up somewhere around eight and a half sacks. But if you got that 8.5 from him, you got 8.5 from Granderson, and you can mix in some sacks from your linebackers and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. The Saints don't have to have, book in defensive ends that are out there getting double-digit sacks like they did for Cam and Junior Gillette. They just got to be able to go out there and create pressure. I'd much rather them speed up the clock with pressure and cause interceptions than I will be for them to have huge sack numbers.
Right. Well, I mean, we're gonna have to see it playing out. I can tell you one thing, boy. This is gonna be a hell of a preseason. This is gonna be a hell of a training camp. All eyes is gonna be on Spence Rattler. Everybody want to see him and Jake Hanna. I think I would like to see the ratings from when Carr is in the preseason games. Well, it's gonna automatically they're gonna get more snaps. But I just know all eyes is going to be on Spence Rattler and Jake Hanna when it comes to these preseason games, and I can't wait, bro. I'm very excited, boy. I'm very excited.
My money on Rattler. I ain't even lying, bro. My money on Rattler to win that QB2 spot. I'm more concerned about who's going to be the third dude or whatever like that. Is Hanna going to be like? I'm wondering if Rattler is enough to push Hanna out the door, because Hanna's not a veteran. So if you got Rattler, you got your young quarterback. You got Derek Carr, you got your starter. Now you got to decide between Nate Peterman, who I think is absolute trash, and Kellen Mond, who I think is garbage. So, I mean, it's like it ain't really that much of a competition between the two, but at least they have starting NFL experience. To be honest, I think if Rattler wins, I wouldn't mind them clearing out the QB room and just bringing in somebody totally different after the veterans start getting cut.
I think they like Peterman because he's just an all-around good guy from what I heard, and he's just like he's a guy that could really talk to the young dudes and just really be like an extra coach. So I think he bring that type of value to the team. But we're gonna see. I personally hope it's just Derek Carr, Rattler, and Hanna. That's what I hope. So.
It would not surprise me if in a year or two from now that Nate Peterman is out of the league as far as a player, but he becomes like a quarterback coach for some team or something like that. Mm-hmm. I can see it happening because I've read the reports. I've seen people talking about how good of a dude he is, and like you said, like another coach and stuff like that. That's all well and good, for them to like maybe get him a practice squad spot or something like that. But I mean, as far as a roster spot on the final 53, not gonna happen.
Well, we all got to just see how it pan out. But let me go ahead on and get to that other team in New Orleans, bro. We got to talk about
my goodness.
Man, they brought out the brooms for us. I was headed to work today, and on both Houston radio stations, Pelicans, of course, are the butt of the jokes with the Charles Barkley, Galveston water. Don't even send them to Cancun. I say, boy, this can't be like, boy, this is New Orleans in a nutshell. Has the
always a laughing stock.
Has the Brandon Ingram and Zion experiment ran its course? It's just like some bad voodoo is on us.
I think so. I think one of the two got to go, and I think we saw who the leader was. I think Zion by himself is a better move for the Pelicans than Brandon by himself. I think the Pelicans can win with Zion and a bunch of dudes around him. I don't think they can win with B.I. and a bunch of dudes around him. I think they're better off with Zion moving forward. That being said, you can't give Brandon $50 million. You cannot give that dude $50 million. If Brandon want to take a hometown discount, take a lower contract or something like that, maybe a shorter deal to where he can kind of build this way back up, I don't mind bringing Brandon back. At this point, personally, I think a sign and trade is the best option. Get him out of here, get him a fresh start, try to bring in some all-world talent to come back. I wouldn't mind seeing Trae Young, wouldn't mind seeing him going after KD, somebody like that, man. Bring in somebody that's going to move the needle, but that you can build, that you can look towards not the future. Immediately, the Pelicans cannot be the play-in Pelicans no more. They got to go to the second round of the playoffs bare minimum next year. And if David Griffin is serious and really means some wholesale changes gonna happen, show it to me. Go get a proven veteran that wants to play, and I ain't talking about no damn CJ McCollum. Go get a real threat not somebody's afterthought. Portland was too quick to give that boy up.
Yeah.
Gave him away. Nah, give me a real dog, man. Give me somebody that when he step on the court, you automatically know that's who taking the last shot. Because Brandon Ingram in the playoffs should have took that last shot against OKC. He was scared of the moment. Willie Green didn't get him the ball, scared of the moment. You already got a bad, let me not say a bad coach in Willie Green, a subpar coach in Willie Green. You better damn sure get you some players that can overcome his lack of coaching ability. Brandon ain't it.
Did you hear Willie Green's press conference when he was like, "Oh well, as long as you make short expectations, it don't mean he will have a failed season." He said something along those lines. I was like, "Oh my god, this boy."
That pissed me off more than give him credit. Because I'm sorry, like you can't tell me that. If the expectations on the Pelicans are to go beyond the first round when you got that much talent, then somewhere along the lines, I'm losing my mind because I should expect a team with Zion and BI and CJ McCollum and Najee. I'm sorry, not Najee and Trey and Herb. I'm expecting y'all to at least make the first round of the playoffs without having to go through the play-in. I'm damn sure expecting y'all to be able to compete with another young team in OKC who swept your asses. You couldn't win one game.
Yeah. That's why
I ain't buying it.
It ain't just about losing because I expected us to lose this series, especially without Zion. But at the same time, when you lose and you don't have Zion, don't get swept. At least make it somewhat competitive. Win at least 2 games. Win at least 2 games because
Lou Dort had Brandon Ingram ass in Angola.
Yeah.
That's unexcusable. You paying Brandon Ingram to be a superstar. That's inexcusable.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to make some changes next year, bro, because this man, this has Zion played a playoff game yet? No,
he ain't playing the playoffs yet.
No, that's crazy, bro. Like this dude literally got hurt right before the playoffs.
Right before the playoffs.
But
here's the thing. I could understand why, because he was the only person out there playing against the Lakers. It felt like he was playing 1-on-5. Because BI didn't show up like he was supposed to. CJ did what he always do. I don't ever remember, even when he was playing in Portland, CJ coming up big in the playoffs or in a game that really, really counted. People kept telling me, "Oh, well, he showed up against San Antonio in the regular season." That's the regular season. I don't give a damn about that. Let me know when he show up when it count the most.
Yeah. And then and it just make you feel so like jealous when you just looking at Minnesota and you just see that killer over there. You see that young killer over there, and it's like, oh my god. Oh,
I see it in everybody. I seen it in the OKC. I seen Shea. I seen Shea say, "Man, ain't nobody about to get us up out of here. We got this." I seen it. I see it with Ant Edwards. I see it in all the young dogs out here. You know who I don't see it in? Brandon Ingram. I'm starting to see it in Zion a little bit.
Yeah.
He got to be healthy enough to be out there, and he got to make his mark in the playoffs. But you starting to see him actually want to be the leader of the team. I like that. Unfortunately for him, he can't never be healthy when it counts.
That's New Orleans sports in a nutshell right there, bro. Like that's what I said all last season before the season started for basketball and football. I said, man, just please let Michael Thomas and Zion be relatively healthy for the season. And if we make a playoff run, let them be healthy for the playoffs. And I can't get that. I just can't get that. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what the hell we did to the injury guys, but we pissed their ass off.
Yeah, man. It happened every year, bro. But it don't never happen to who you want it to happen to. Because I'm I'm not gonna sit here and act like I wanted Derek Carr to have like a career-threatening injury. But I would have liked to see him after, when he had that injury, have to sit for like 4-5 games. Because I would have loved to see what the hell would have happened if Jameis would have stepped in and balled out. That would have been interesting football to me.
Hey, you say you love chaos.
I love it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm an agent for it.
But the funny thing about Spencer Rattler, he mixed. So we ain't gonna have that Derek Carr and Jameis Winston divide in the fan base, or Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill divide in the fan base as far as race. Now, if he suck, this side gonna be like, nah, y'all can have him. if he
right.
do good, it's gonna be like that damn Chappelle show I had said when they was
the
doing
racial draft.
So it's gonna be real interesting to see how it all pan out, man. But shoot, man, that's all I got, man. We've been on here for about 50 minutes. I know you're on that road. I don't want to hold you up too much of your time, bro. We had a good conversation. Shoot, we definitely got some more to talk about because it's gonna be some more moves that we gonna make down the line. But Pels and Saints, oh man,
Man. I'm so glad I live in Denver and I get to watch a real basketball team, man. If only Sean Payton could get his stuff together with the Broncos, I'd be all right. But until then, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be a fan of whatever team is winning at the time. I'm a bandwagon fan this all the way out.
Now I heard you say I heard you out on Sean Payton. To be honest, I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of rooting for Sean Payton to make something happen with Bo Nix and that wide receiver Troy Franklin. Like I just want to see him kind of do good. Like I want to see that division be competitive. I want to see that division give Kansas City a run for their money, and I want to see the Chargers play up to their level, and I want to see the Raiders do good because they new head coach. Like I want to see that division really be competitive. And Sean Payton, that's just like that ex that just moved on, but you kind of, you'll come up on Facebook and you'll be like, that motherfucker left me, but I'm kind of glad to see them happy, I guess. That's how I kind of feel.
With me, man, I don't blame Sean for leaving. It's how Sean left that bothers me. So until I get over it, man, I'm gonna go ahead on I seen what he doing in Denver. He actually didn't do too bad to say he started off 0-5 and had to get rid of a lot of people that didn't do the team well, man. I think he actually gonna improve the Broncos. How well he gonna improve them is a whole nother story because I'm not sold on Bo Nix. I'm just not. He got to show me. And if there's a Bo Nix hater in the world, it might be me. I don't see it. So I'm gonna have to see with him and Drake May. I ain't sold at all, bro. They're gonna have to really go out there and prove it to me and shut me the hell up. Until then, man, like I said, man, I ain't too mad at Sean as far as wanting to see him all out fail. But every time he get his ass kicked, I smile.
So how you feel about JJ McCarthy?
I think he overrated as hell, but I think he went to the right team in order to do it. I think they're going to give him the same plan Michigan gave him. They're going to let that boy throw the ball 15 times because when you got Jettis out there and you got Addison, give him a little bit of a run game with a decent tight end, they're going to just play small ball with him. You got the weapons. I don't want you to do nothing you outside of your comfort zone for. I don't need you trying to throw 90-yard bombs. Get that ball 30 yards down the field of Jefferson and let him make the rest of it happen. I'm okay with that.
So dare I say Brian feel like the Saints had got the third or maybe the fourth best quarterback in the draft?
I think you could say that with relative ease. I think first of all, I think Jaden is the best quarterback in the draft. That's just me. I think he's the perfect combination of Deshaun Watson, before the massages. I think he's the perfect combination of Lamar Jackson, except he can actually throw the ball, with great accuracy. I think he's a perfect blend of those two dudes. So I don't mind saying with my heart, not and my head, that I think Jaden is the right guy for the job to be the number one quarterback in this draft class. I think Caleb, not too bad, but he's the number 2 dude to me. JJ, I think JJ gonna pan out to be the number 3 just based on where he at. Penix, talent wise, should be the number 3 quarterback, but he's not gonna play this year or next year unless Curtis hurt. So I guess talent wise, yeah, he's the number 3. JJ, Spencer number 4. So yeah, I think Spencer's the 4 as far as talent, 4th best quarterback in this draft. I don't see it with Drake May. I think too many people are comparing him to Josh Allen in Buffalo, and they're gonna fall on their damn face because of that comparison. He is not no Josh Allen, and Josh Allen wasn't that good coming out of college either.
Do you think they kind of made? Do you think that was the head coach? Do you think that was Mayo pick?
No. I don't think so, because Mayo understands if he looked at that roster by him being a defensive coach last year, he know they got way more problems in quarterback. Now, I think if you have a chance to get your franchise QB, you get him. I just don't think Drake May is a franchise quarterback. I think he's going to get Gerard Mayo fired, and that ain't the dude he wanted.
So do you think they should sit Drake May or no?
Yeah, but I mean, you drafted number 3, you're going to have to start him.
Right.
You picked him 3rd overall, you got to put him out there. The problem is he don't have nobody to throw it to.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to see how it playing out, but I'm going to let you go ahead on and get on that road, bro, man. This was good.
That's what's up, fam. I'm about to hit the Colorado Springs way station anyway, so I have to jump off, bro. I don't play with them people. They're serious over there.
All right, fam. Be safe.
I'm going to holler at you, my G. Anytime, bro. I'm a phone call away.
All right.
Bet.